What's the worst shape for a room? That's a good question, and it comes from Philip in Boston, Ma. You've discussed ideal dimensions for listening rooms, non-parallel walls, and the golden ratio. You've also talked about the difficulties of making a perfect square room sound good. That can't possibly be the worst situation you've seen, though. Taking that further, what would be the worst possible shape of a room you can imagine? How about a domed ceiling, or a circular walls, or a parabolic room? A room that's taller than it is wide. Thanks for all the videos, and I'm looking forward to the book. He's referring to my autobiography, 99% True, which, if you haven't signed up for it, you won't be able to get a copy when it publishes. I'm only going to work with the early adopters at first. So go to paulmcgowan.com, add your email address, and I will make sure that when it comes due, I'm working on the audiobook now, you'll have a chance to be one of the first to be able to get it. And we'll have some sort of deal, or I don't know. Anyway, if you want. Okay, the worst room. Well, I was going to say square. Square room, and I've only been in a few. If you think about it, an 8 by 8 cube, right? 8, 8, 8, 8, 8 tall. Oh man, that would be horrible because of the standing waves. I mean, you'd hardly be able to make sound in there. But a domed ceiling. Now, I'm not sure that would be bad. First off, I don't sit around and think about what would be the worst room. I typically sit around and think, gosh, what would be the best room, or, well, I'll tell you what I actually sit around and think about. In a second, though, I want to make sure I don't deviate too far off and not answer his question. Non-parallel walls, of course, are great. A round, I pretty much wanted to do round in our listening rooms instead of the 45-degree angles. We just ran out of money. I mean, this building has just fleeced us dry of cash. I think we have spent close to $1 million in stuff, and it's like, whoa, we're not that big of a company. That's a lot of money to put out. So, the Keenan and Jim, who actually run the company and try and keep us afloat instead of letting Paul go off and do whatever he wants, have put the kibosh on. McGowan, just make it work with what you got. Okay, and it's pretty fancy the way it is, and I'll show you, the listening rooms. They turned out great, but I kind of wanted to have curves in that. And when the architect, they'd already done it, the permits, and then we'd have to change everything. I think curves are great. I love the idea of curves. I guess, and just, I have to say, a completely, perfectly cube room where every dimension is identical would be a disaster. Yeah, that would definitely be a disaster. But let me tell you what keeps me up at night about rooms, and it's speakers. We're building speakers. We'll have them out in 2019. My fervent hope is that when Axpona, the show in Chicago, comes around, and I think that comes around in April, if memory serves right, we've got a big room, and I really want to play the prototypes that we haven't even gotten yet. And here it is, December. We haven't gotten the prototypes yet, but I'm always hopeful. So I want to be showing those speakers and playing them at the show. So let's imagine that actually happens. So what keeps me up at night, as far as rooms are concerned and speakers, is our customers. It's hard enough selling electronics to people. We, as many of you know, we are very big on working directly with our customers. And if a customer buys one of our products, one of our amps, and if they buy it from us, sometimes from a dealer, and if they're not happy with it, I want to take it back. I don't want you to have PS audio equipment that you're not happy with, right? I mean, what good does that do us? Go, yeah, I bought into what Paul was saying and I got it home and it didn't work for me. Well, it doesn't always work. I mean, there's 100 different reasons. There's the synergies wrong with your speakers, with the room or whatever. So it's difficult enough dealing with electronics. Now put speakers into the mix. Think about it. When we start dealing with speakers, and let's say you go to our website or our dealer or whatever, and you say, I want to buy a pair of speakers. I love the AN3s. They look great. I'm going to take them home. We ship those dogs out to you, and these things are going to be 300 pounds. I don't know about each, but I think we figure there's going to be like 180 or something each. So that's heavy. They come, you know, and you got to take them out. You're going to have to have wheels. You're going to wheel them in place. Look at what we have to deal with. It isn't just taking one of these chunks and setting it down, plugging it and hooking it up. Now I've got a piece of furniture in your home. You both have to like it. You're going to put it in a place that isn't necessarily the best place for sound. It's going to be where it looks great, where it fits into your home. I understand that. But you're going to want that thing to sound great. And you just have to worry about a choice of the other equipment and cables to make that thing sound great. I can guarantee you that thing sounds better than any amplifier out there that I've ever heard. In the right situation, it's great. But speakers, if you set those speakers up, let's say you want it on either side of the fireplace, and you got a great room, and your significant other has said, well, I'll allow you to pull those 2 feet out from the rear wall, or the front wall, whatever, you know, and it's going to be on either side of the fireplace, and you're going to fire those things up and think, well, that sounds pretty good. Doesn't sound as good as when I visited PS Audio, and because I heard imaging going, you know, out for miles, and I'm not getting that. Well, the reason you're not getting it is because they're not set up right. And I can't guarantee anything. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of ideas, but this keeps me up at night. You know, I mean, we're going to do some DSP on the bass and the mid bass, so you'll be able to maybe take your phone and go bloop, and it tunes it to the room. Bingo. And I can do that with low frequencies and make it sound really good. And we know how to do that, and we will do that. But what about the tweeter? What about the mid-range? You know, other than positioning and putting in some kind of CD that you can listen to and try and, you know, it's a really big problem. Really big problem. And it's one that I intend to solve. I love problems, but they do keep me up at night. So, I don't know how we got off onto that, but we did. Okay, sorry. Now you know what keeps me up at night. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.